everyone, and welcome back to another book haul. We are going into the Thanksgiving holiday here in the US where I live, and I needed some light reading, so I went to the library. Yeah, I got reading. I don't know if I would call it light. So let's discuss. I'm going to go through all the books that I got for the holiday, what I think they're going to be about, and then when I get back from my Thanksgiving holiday, hopefully all of these will be read and I can have reviews ready for all of you guys. So let's go through this stack and discuss what I have. First up, we have a math book. I love math, so I have to get a math book almost every time I'm at the library. This is the Little Book of Mathematical Principles, Theories, and Things. It seems quite simple. Kind of just a page for little things in math, but I feel like it could be a little interesting read, and it is quite small, so I did check this out. Not entirely sure what to expect, but I also don't think there's going to be a lot of surprises in this book, and I will give my review and what I think about it. Next up is book 1 in a series that I've actually read book 2 for. This is Finna by Nino Seabry. So I read the second book in the series, which was Defect, and I didn't realize it was book 2 until I reached the end of the book and read some notes by the author. So it's not a series that you have to read necessarily in order, but I didn't know if book 1 was going to give me more context. I enjoyed book 2, I enjoyed Defect, so I went and found Finna, and this is book 1. I'm excited to see where this goes. I am under the impression that the character that appears in Defect also appears in Finna, but isn't the main character, so I'm excited to see how the character from that Defect book translates into this book. So I will read and review this. The second book in the series was quite short, and the first book seems to follow suit, and I do like this length. This is perfect for like an hour and a half read, and I should have plenty of time to read this coming holiday long weekend. I have like 4 or 5 days off for this holiday, so it's going to be quite a bit of time. Next up, I have 2 manga volumes to read. The first one is one in a series that I have been reading. This is volume 26 of Komi Can't Communicate by Tomohito Oda. This is what the cover looks like. I'm coming off volume 25, which in my opinion was a little weaker in the series, so I'm excited to see if the series continues to pick back up at volume 26. This is a more recent volume. I'm almost caught up with this series, I believe. I believe it's still ongoing, but I am getting close to where we are currently caught up, so that is exciting. Volume 26. And as we can see, this came from the new shelf. It has the new sticker on the side, so it is a quite recent book. The next one is a new series I saw also, well, no, it wasn't on the new shelf. It was on a display in the library, and I decided to give it a read. That is After the Rain by Jun Miyazuki. This is what the cover looks like. My understanding is this book is about a woman who has an injury that sidelines her track career. And I don't know if it's a romance, but either way, I thought that was kind of an interesting premise, like almost a sports premise, but not really, because this injury sidelines her career. I feel like this could be really good or really bad. So we're going to read this and find out. Just something new and interesting to try. It is a little bit longer than I would say your average manga volume. Like if we compare Komi and this one, very different lengths. But again, it's manga, so it probably won't take as long to read as say a normal novel, but I'm looking forward to giving this one a try. Now we get into where I went a little crazy. So I probably should have just gotten like this, the ones I've showed you for the holiday. But I was on my library's online catalog, and I wanted to do a little bit more reading on like folklore and mythology and different creatures inside mythology. I've kind of been on this kick lately, so I did a little searching, and then I placed some holds, and then I placed too many holds, and now I have a lot of books to read on this topic. So let's just dive in. The first one I got was Mythical Beasts of Japan, From Evil Creatures to Sacred Beings. This is what the cover looks like. It is quite thick. Now, I placed this one on hold for my library's catalog, and I did not realize at the time that the text in this book is primarily in Japanese. There is a section at the beginning that is translated from Japanese to English. So here we have Japanese on one side, English on the other. It's quite light and it's on this background, so I'm not sure you can see, but the book is also primarily not even text at all. It's just a lot of pictures, a lot of art. So I think even though the text that is in here is mostly in Japanese, I don't think it'll necessarily preclude me from enjoying this book. I almost wonder if I can get something on my phone that if I hold it over, it'll translate it to English, just so I could get like captions or relevant information from the bottom, because I don't speak or read Japanese. So that is one thing I did not realize when I placed a hold on this book. but I'm still very excited to enjoy it. It is quite thick, but it's primarily art, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to take me less time to read because I want to spend a long time looking at and absorbing the art, so it might take me a long time or even longer to read than if this were just text. Next up is one that I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about this. I Know What I Saw, Modern Day Encounters with Monsters of New Urban Legends and Ancient Lore. I think my searches in the library catalog picked this up because it references ancient monsters. I'm not entirely sure what to believe. I feel like I have quite an open mind when it comes to what people saw. I might not necessarily always believe it, but I can't discount someone's experience unless, of course, it was like they were doing lots of illicit substances and they were very intoxicated and then they're pretty sure they saw aliens in the woods. I'll discount that experience as like, maybe you didn't see aliens in the woods, but I have an open mind for people who genuinely seem to have been in their right mind and there's nothing else to explain what they saw, so this will just be, at the very least, an interesting read. I think it may also be a little controversial, but not so controversial that I won't do a review on my channel, because I don't like to review controversial books that I read just because I don't want to start fights. The next book is one that in my haste I did not realize was a children's book, but I might still review it just in case, I don't know, anyone's looking to know if this is a good book for their kid or something. This is Mythologies Monsters. I probably should have recognized this was a kid's book from the cover, but it is a children's book, as you can tell. It might be a good place to start because it's probably incredibly basic and not my reading level at all, but it'll probably give me a really good overview. Again, I might review this. This is a kid's book. I'll definitely read it. I feel like maybe I don't want to say it's cheating. I don't want to like read kids' books to like artificially inflate my number, but we'll give it a read and see what it's like. I haven't read a book like this. I feel like this is the kind of book I would have loved as a kid, like eaten up. So it'll be interesting to read something like this. And it does appear well loved because the library copy has some breakage on the spine up here, meaning lots of other kids have read it and loved it. And I do want to read this and return it because I know there's probably kids who will enjoy it more than me, so I don't want to have it out from the library for an extended period of time, if that makes sense. Next up, we have Sea Monsters on Medieval and Renaissance Maps. So this is by Chet Van Duzer, D-U-Z-E-R. I'm just interested to read this. I'm sure we all know the phenomenon of putting monsters on the edges of maps in medieval and Renaissance times, but I really don't have much knowledge beyond that. I have read some other books on medieval monsters, so this will probably be a very good complement to what I've read already. There does seem to be an equal showing of the pictures and the text, so I do expect to learn something, and it just seems like a very interesting but niche topic, so I'm excited to give this a read. Sticking with the medieval monster thing, Medieval Monsters, Terrors, Aliens, Wonders. This is another art book, primarily discussing the art. We have some manuscript illumination, it appears. We have just some art. I'm really interested in knowing what this book is about. It seems quite broad, like medieval monsters all. Well, Sea Monsters on Medieval and Renaissance Maps seems quite niched, or a little bit more niche into like what we're talking about. This one seems quite, it's all turned around. This one seems quite broad with medieval monsters, so I'm guessing this is more of an overview. I'm gonna try to think through like a logical way to read through these books that I have. Probably starting with the kids book because it's gonna be quite basic. Maybe moving into medieval monsters, then maybe going to the Sea Monsters, and this next one, which is, again, Sea Monsters, A Voyage Around the World's Most Beguiling Maps by Joseph Nigg. So this is what it looks like. Sea Monsters. This is what the cover looks like. This one does feel slightly older, but I don't think that's going to affect it because we really are just talking about medieval maps. So it's not like this is the latest map technology or something that may have changed. We have a beached whale. This is maybe kind of a graphic or picture. Maybe I won't show that one. But I'm very excited to read this. I think these two, the Sea Monsters on Medieval and Renaissance Maps and Sea Monsters Voyage Around the World's Most Beguiling Maps, seem to go well together. So these are probably going to be read. So my reading order might be Monsters, the kids book, Medieval Monsters, the adult book, and then getting more niched into Sea Monsters. And finally, we have Wild Africa by Alex Bernasconi. This is just a photography collection. It's quite big, but that makes sense. I mean, the photographer is covering, at least I assume Alex Bernasconi is the photographer, is covering an entire continent, but one with absolutely gorgeous nature and very unique nature, so I'm very excited to give this a read. And check out the wonderful photography that I'm sure is within. So that is what I am reading over the Thanksgiving break. I have quite a bit of time off, so I'm hoping to get through all of this. Book reviews will return on all of these, so stay tuned. If any of these seem interesting, I will be doing a review on them. And if you have anything you would like to suggest, if I can order it from any library in my state, I will read it. So put your suggestions on what you think I should be reading next in the comment section below. I love to get viewer suggestions, and I hope you are having a happy holiday if you live in an area where there is a holiday coming up, and I hope you have a great rest of your day no matter where